What's up, witches? Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, as the case may be. It is Monday, and I refuse to put on actual outside clothes until I have to go actual outside. So here I am in my morning gown for the unboxing of the day. And today we are working on a tarot deck, or looking at, not really working on. And it is called Cirque du Tarot. This is by Lisa Robertson, illustrated by Josh Tufts, and her name is familiar to me, but I'm not going to look it up right now. Same thing here, includes a 78 card deck and 208 page full color guidebook. There's a storm coming in. It's awesome. Hopefully it will blast some of the heat away. A tarot extravaganza that dazzles and delights. Roll up, roll up. Okay, now I've got the Beatles in my head. Come see the greatest tarot circus on earth. This Rider-Waite Smith deck showcases the excitement and illusion of the big top, along with all the behind-the-scenes intrigue. The richly illustrated suit cards are cleverly comprised of clockwork machines, balancing blades, water acrobatics, and blazing fire dancers, making this deck the perfect choice for tarot readers who are drawn to the magic and mystery of the ringmaster's mystical domain. This was a gift from my daughter, a birthday present, and I had never heard of it before that. This is a Llewellyn deck. We don't have a copyright. Oh, yes, we do. 2021. And retails for $31.99 in the US. So we have a nice snappy magnet box, as is the mode du jour, and we've got this shiny image there. Looks like the Hermit, probably. Nice, big, as promised, full color. I love this. I love this when we get full page images, glossy images of the cards. My aging eyes are very grateful for that. And ooh, we've got, is that the Devil maybe? Ribbon pull. Snappy snap. Now let's take a look at the book real quick. So Josh Tufts did the artwork. It says Under the Big Top. Look at the fire. I mean, the color is amazing. The author is the other half of Quantum Wealth Coaching, a luxury brand that helps seven-figure entrepreneurs reconnect to their passion and purpose and mission by elevating them out of burnout and hustle and into impact and legacy. Well, that's good, I guess. Certainly seven-figure income people are grossly underserved. When she's not working with her incredible clients, she's writing books and creating tarot decks. I want to know what other decks she has created, so I'm opening a document here. About the illustrator. One mo. That's not the one I wanted. That's the one I wanted. All right. Got my catalog open. Professional designer and illustrator Josh Tufts is a commercial artist living in Ohio. I wonder where in Ohio. Notable clientele include FX, Elevate Pictures, Pawn Creative, Llewellyn, Delta Airlines, and General Motors, each of which he has created definitive and meaningful content for. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Work has merited inclusion into the Spectrum 25, the best in contemporary fantastic art, as well as being featured in the 2018 Spring Gallery by the Ohio Art League. Wow. When he's not working, you'll find him composing music, baking, and spoiling his dog. Well, okay, let's look at, I think I have to open a browser here. I want to see what else she has done, because I know that name. Okay. Let's take a look. All right. And she's not writing books, blah, blah, blah. We have Tarot Priestess, Tarot Healer. Okay, so I think I put, like, her books on a wish list. Featured titles: The Book of Mermaid Magic, Tarot Priestess, Soul Cats. That's why, because my daughter also got me Soul Cats Tarot, and she also authored that. So, okay, question answered. Off we go. Um, mm. Let's take a look at the contents a little bit. We have acknowledgements. Welcome to the show. The playbill setting the stage. Act 1 majors. Intermission is the court cards. That's interesting. Act 2 swords. A land of dreams and nightmares. Act 3 wands. It's all fire and smoke. Act 4 cups. Dive deep and play. Act 5 pentacles. Reality revealed. Encore. Spreads. And then finale. Okay. Set that aside and go zoomy zoom. All right. Here are the backs. And we do have reversible. I mean, if they're talking about Rider-Waite-Smith deck, one would expect that. But we don't have like, oh, I guess we do have all of the elements. We've got the fire wands and the swords. For air, we've got water and cups, and I suppose the middle or the corners would be the coins. All right. And here is the Fool. Sorry, I'm so fussy. Okay, so we've got like this, I can't remember. I remember the kid's name. It's Atreyu, right? But what's that big flying white thing in Neverending Story, I believe? So here's the Fool riding on the back of a creature coming off of a cliff, but we've got curtains, so it does look like the big top context. Then we have the Magician. There's all the elements. And so we do have, you know, the standard imagery referred to while we are still putting the circus context like front and center. The High Priestess. And I am very grateful right now for the big images in the book because you know, look at the difference. You know what? I think I might just go through the book here because you can see them so much better. All right. This is probably going to work better for me than it is you because I can just see things so much more clearly. So there's the Fool. There's the Magician. Here's the High Priestess. Sitting on the moon. There's no book, but there we do have the two columns. Kind of a firework on one and a fruiting tree on the other. Here's the Emperor, the strong man, and then we got this little tiny strong man. That's interesting. The Lovers. I do love how they've, you know, placed everything within this circus context, and the art style is like impressionistic almost. We don't have very clear, realistic, detailed things. We've got these, you know, broad, kind of fuzzy washes of color, which are very cool. Here's the Chariot. Almost looks like Cinderella's pumpkin coach. And look at the people holding this down. So this is apparently floating. And the people are pulling it forward. Strength. I love that idea of balance and being able to hold a position. Here's the Hermit. Yep. Wheel of Fortune. So we have these aerialists flying around and a big pentacle in the middle. And this, I don't know. And I'm looking here that each of them has ally and challenger. So I assume that is upright and that is reversed. There's Justice. Look at such a doggy or a tiger or something like that. And we have the Hanged Man suspended over this tank with these gigantic fishes. Interesting, the elements that they're bringing into things. I want to do just a side-by-side little thing here. Hold up. Okay. I'm looking at like the color, and it is 1-to-1. This is, you know, I was looking to see if the enlarged images were kind of diluted at all, and boy, they're not. All right, so here's death. And we have the hat and these spirits kind of coming up out of that hat. And we have the dead ringmaster, I would assume. Here's temperance. It's a good thing that there are titles on the cards because they don't, they aren't a real faithful depiction of the classic images. I would call it referencing them. Here's the devil. So what I thought might be the devil inside the box is not in fact the devil. Look at her. And we have the tower. I'm hearing this little crack as I'm going through, and I'm hoping this book doesn't fall apart. So there's the tower. And there's the star. So see, I mean, it's like a firework, but you don't have, and look at these little like sylphs, you don't have the standard, all of the standard imagery. Here's the sun. That's pretty easy. Okay, wait, we skipped the moon. There's the moon. So we have a crayfish and a little dog. And we have a crescent moon. There's the sun. There's judgment. Again, if you did not know or have the title on the card, would you know that's judgment? I would say no, you would not. So we are referring to, but sometimes we go a little farther afield. And here's the world, quite literally. And then intermission, the court cards. Oh, all right. Let me see what the minors look like. Okay, this is really interesting. So the pages, we have, let me see if they're, yes, they are. So here are the pages. I want you to see them a little more close up. They all look similar. They're sitting in front of a mirror, but you can see their tool or their instrument next to them. There's the sword. I guess that's the wand there. It's kind of hard to see. There's a cup, and then here's the coins. There's a, you can't see that, there's a coin right there. All right. Then the knights go full size. Oh no, okay, oh my God, all right. So there we go. And yes, there's the wand, there's the cup, there's the pentacle. Here are the knights. The Knight of Swords. And I'm looking to see where there's a sword. We have Venus and Mars symbols, but you don't really see a sword there. And then a wand. So we have to just know, I mean, no, we don't. The card says what it is, but the image does not. There's the Knight of Wands, there's the Knight of Cups, and there's the Knight of Pentacles. So again, they're all in the same pose. The color palette differentiates them. Now we have the Queens, the Queen of Swords, Big Sword, Queen of Wands. And there is I'm going to back up a little bit here because there is like a synopsis of each section. Pages, this is where it all starts, in a quiet dressing room surrounded by possibilities of who and what you can become. Each of the pages is preparing for a very specific role, one that will require them to be flexible, focused, and aware. There is something magical about this moment, the beginning of what could be. It is a quiet stillness bursting with potential. This is the energy of the page and the gift of this first step. Do not rush it, as there's much to learn. The knights say you will notice something very interesting about the knights of Cirque. They are neither masculine nor feminine. Yes, I noticed that. But rather they straddle both in a non-binary imagining. Very nice. This is because the role of knight is not determined by gender, nor do knights need to prescribe to any form of specified gender roles. They are merely a representation of how some like to show up and engage in the world. They're focused, disciplined, and above all, creatures of habit. So with the pages, we get preparation. With the knights, we get engagement. Queens, embodying your inner queen is easier than you think. All you need to do is suit up and get into character. We can all slip into this role at any time, anywhere. Being a queen has nothing to do with gender and everything to do with how you think, feel, move, and create. The Tarot Queens are social creatures who take the business of relationships very seriously, though each of them do it in their own unique way, as you will see. You need to know how to relate to people around you, especially when sharing the stage with them. A queen knows that a Rolodex full of good connections is worth more than gold. Let's slip into the role of queen and see what new tricks they can teach us. So, queens are about embodiment and relationships, and here's the swords and the wands, cups, and pentacles. The kings, this is it, the final moment before you get on stage. You've completed your preparation and the spotlight awaits you. Everything you've done has aligned you to this moment. It's time to step up and lead. The great thing about being a king is that you don't have to lead from the front of the stage. A good leader can place themselves anywhere on the stage and others will still look to them for guidance. Being king is not about having all eyes on you, though that tends to happen organically. Rather, it is about having all eyes on the glory and power of your unified kingdom. There's the swords, the wands, the cups, and the pentacles. And again, we have kind of gender neutral-ish. Act 2, Swords, a land of dreams and nightmares. Here's the ace. The 2. We have no blindfold, but we do have 2 swords. We have 3 swords. So we don't, and they're all being pierced by swords. I was going to say we don't see the pierced heart. Oh, yes, we do. And these almost look like tombstones down here. Here's the 4. Interesting. A lot of interesting elements. There's like these unicorns with these knight-ish people with shields. Right. The 5. The 6. Okay, well, there's the boat in the 6. I'm looking at the 5. I mean, got somebody kind of splayed out. There's a sword. Is someone throwing swords at him? That would make sense. The 7. There's the thief. Here's the 8. Ooh! Oh, look at this. Caught in a web, and look at the spiders. Wow. Here's the 9. Kind of in a forest of swords, and the 10. They're loading somebody into the ambulance. That's pretty succinct. Here's the wands. Okay. The ace. Certainly fire. Look at that. The fire cats. Here's the 2. Who disturbs my slumber? Hey. There's the 3 of wands. And the 4. So we do have this kind of partnership idea. There's like a, I don't know what this is. A brazier. There's the 5. Alright, everybody's kind of doing their own thing. There's the 6, the victory card. And that's not the one I was. 7. You do see the kind of stand your ground thing. That's the one that showed inside the box. The 8 of wands. So we don't really get that, you know, rushing direction of those wands. That's kind of a bummer. I do use directionality when I read tarot, particularly if I'm doing like a Wheel of Fortune spread or even just the 9-card grid. It's always interesting when the 8 of wands come up to see what they're zooming to and from. This, not so much. You're not going to see that. Here's the 9 of wands. Boundaries, and the 10. So this kid is holding some and sort of kneeling. we don't really get that oppression sort of idea. Act 4 cups, dive deep and play. There's the ace, the 2, the 3. These big heads in the sky are interesting too. Here's the 4. We do see this kind of self-absorption and another one coming in that's not being acknowledged. Here's the 5, loss, 6, memory. Look at this whale thing. Dang. Then the 7. They're all of the cups are filled with coins there. There's the 8. I think he's like dragging this giant bathtub with a dead fish in it. There's the 9. Very similar, these two images. And the 10. Okay. Act 5, Pentacles, reality revealed. You know, I don't remember. Swords, a land of dreams and nightmares. I don't remember if I read those. And the wands where it's all fire and smoke. Okay, I think I did. There we go. Ace, 2. Pages are kind of sticking together right here. That's that cracking I'm hearing. 2 of Pentacles, the 3. Working together. The clock works there. I appreciate that. 4. Oh, praying to the god of the coins. Yes, maybe. 5. I guess we can get kind of the out in the cold. The 6. As you can see, I'm not too fussed about that, but look at this benevolent character here. The 7. Do we get the idea of review? Not really. 8. 9. There's the wish card. Look at her feet on someone's back. And the 10. All right. And then we have some spreads in the back. Well, let me zoom you out. We'll carry on. All right, let's get the charcoal lit and do a quick blessing to get this prepped and ready to go. I'm very curious to see how the readings go. I didn't read any of the entries for the cards. I will do that when I read. And we'll see how it talks. Okay. The tricky charcoals that will not really go blazing until you pick them up with your bare fingers. Okay. All right. So, with this sacred smoke by air and fire, may you be purified and charged. By salt and water, may you be blessed and made whole. Let's get the book too. Intention always gets there. And then, by the sound of the bell, may the spirit of the author and the artist awaken within this deck. May their intent come through clearly. And welcome to my guides and guardians, allies and ancestors. Thank you for being here. And I offer you this deck as a vehicle, and I also offer you fresh water and the fire of Azrael. We do not have, with the Llewellyn deck, we don't get the blocking cards. You know, like with LS gives you a card for the deck and then their advertising card that can serve as blocking cards. Here we go. Wonderful. It's regular card stock. With a sort of apology for this bitch coming up every single time. I appreciate normal cardstock. It just works. And I wish that, you know, particularly with Oracle decks that have this massively thick cardstock, that you just have a hard time enjoying the shuffle. Okay. Now, let's look at the readings that are in the back here. I think there was something in the front. Playbill, setting the stage. Let's see here. The show you are about to see will be played in 5 acts, an intermission, and an encore. One act introduces you to some of the main characters of the show. And so it talks about the suits and the majors, setting the stage, how to do a reading with your new cards. You want to make sure the stage is set, lighting a candle, so forth. And then they talk about just a simple 3 card. Don't let the word basic fool you into thinking this reading isn't powerful. So 3, make sure the cards are face up. Card 1, the past that shaped you. Card 2, you are here. Card 3, what is unfolding. All shows have a finale, something that lets the audience know the show has come to an end. Your reading is no different. You need to close it out, let the energy in your cards know you are finished. That's an interesting thing. You can do this by packing up your props, knocking on your deck, and then finally waving an herb wand over your reading area, yourself and your cards. Yep, that's a good thing. Closing is a very good thing. Encore spreads. The end is never truly the end, it says. We have Seeking the Spotlight spread. What talent or gift will attract the attention of the spotlight? What sort of support for your success do you have in place? Why is being in the spotlight important to you? What's the next right action to bring the spotlight your way? There's the stage fright spread, the fear, the mindset, and the action. That's very attractive to me. The 7-day show, being part of a troupe. You, or what role do you play? Others, and what role do they play? What are the positive influences of your combined energies? How will working together bring you all success? Okay, so I'm looking at either that one or the stage fright spread. All right. You know me. I always like to go to the dark part, the dark place. So, there's nothing worse for a performer than an attack of stage fright. I can vouch. Yet despite this, the show must go on and you must not let it deter you from playing your part. This spread is designed to assist you with getting on the stage even if your legs are wobbly. You feel like you might throw up and you're not even really sure why you ever signed up for the gig. And this is especially interesting because this morning I was dreaming that my husband and me and another friend who is one of my patrons, Tavia, were in a talent show. And we had to go to this place and I wasn't prepared. I was doing a comedy thing. I was telling jokes and I knew what the jokes were, but they weren't written down. I didn't have anything fully worked out and I was doing that. I know what I'm doing. And the fear came up because always prepare thoroughly, because if you think you've all got it in your head and you stand up and try to find the flow, you're doomed. Okay, so the stage fright spread. And you know, I always ask as a more general question, what do we need to know, do, be, in order to move from survival into thrival? I have 5 cards here. Let's just see how we go. I'm going to take the first 3, the Hanged Man, the 3 of Swords, and the 4 of Pentacles. Good, so we have a good shuffle. Because they're very shuffleable cards. How about that? All right. So the spread says, the first one is the fear. This card lets you know what is holding you back and what energy is amplifying your fear. What holds us back, what amplifies our fear. So upright, ally. The line is primed, the fish are ready, and it is almost time for you to submerge yourself into a situation of surrender. This is the part you must play for the moment, and that is to let go, allow, and understand that there is a higher order to what is taking place. Although things look upside down from your point of view, there may be a very good chance you are seeing life clearly for the very first time. Things might be falling into place around you in a way they have never done before. In fact, the more you surrender, the more things become clear and the pieces fall into place. All you have to do is let go, still your mind, and let things sort themselves out. Now, I did not allow for reversals, so of course we're reading all of these right side up. Although the temptation would be to look at a category that names the fear. Temptation is to read the reverse, but there isn't a reverse, so we're going straight up. What's holding you back, and what's amplifying your fear? Well, this fear of surrender, of not being in control. The Hanged Man talks about things that are not under your direct control. And we're getting ready to be submerged in the water. So the things that fascinate me about the creation of decks, which, I have undying respect for anyone that puts this amount of work in to create a tarot deck or any kind of deck. But I'm wondering, as I was reading, because the writing definitely matches the image, and I want to know who was the chicken and who was the egg. I want to know if this was, the author's vision of here's what I want this to look like, or if the artist did this, drawing and his interpretation, and then the author is drawing from that. I suspect that the author was the one saying, here's what I'd like this to look like, because she is so very specific in her writing. So, what is feeding our fear? The idea of surrendering, the idea that we are in fact not in absolute control of everything that's happening and everything that we're going through. The next category is the mindset. This card shows you where your mind needs to be, where you need to focus, and how to overcome the fear. And we have 3 of Swords. Where our mind needs to be. This is going to be fascinating. Okay. Interesting that this deck kind of starts with the swords too. Usually the classic Waite Smith starts with wands as fire and then goes to cups, because fire and water are the 2 main creative elements, and then we go to swords and pentacles as kind of the secondary. All right, 3 of Swords. And this again, I always have to keep reminding myself because, crone brain. I got crone brain. Shows you where your mind needs to be. Pain is a natural part of life. We all experience it at different levels during different times of our journey. It is important to acknowledge your pain, to see it, and sit with it. This is not about dwelling in the pain, but rather using it as a healing tool, and that can only happen if you step into it. I want to go deeper into that concept right now because it's important. Where your mind needs to be, that we can sit with our pain without dwelling in our pain. So feeling it is one thing, putting ourselves in the context of its origin is another. And it's a super important distinction, because we do need to feel the feelings and be with those feelings, but we don't have to pick the scab and go back into reliving the trauma, okay? Our performers are showing their pain. They are not hiding it or trying to fit in to make others comfortable, nor are they allowing their experience to be defined by others. Pain is personal, and it can only be moved through on your terms in your own way. The writing for this deck is fabulous. It's really wonderful. And yes, Lisa Robertson, good job, lady. Okay, so where our mindset needs to be and where we need to focus is on, feeling our whatever pain we are in, acknowledging that we are in pain, being with ourselves, feeling it, not being in denial. All right? But taking an empowered stance with it, that I am moving this through. If I am willing to sit with this pain, I can breathe it, I can, process the emotions, but not focus on that storyline. We're dealing with the energy, not the story. There's the important distinction. Whatever spiritual practice you do for healing emotional issues like this, it's the energy of the emotion that we want to be in and breathe in so that we can process that and make that energy available for use. If we deal with the storyline, that's when the mind starts to grind and generate more pain because we're reliving the story. So where does our focus need to be? On the energy. This is swords, the mental energy. Shifting that mental energy away from dwelling in the pain to stepping into it or sitting with it, not dwelling in it. Okay. I think I've belabored that sufficiently. The last one is the action. This is your last card. Your last card is all about walking through the fear. This is the action you must take once your head is back in the game. This action needs to be done swiftly so you don't leave space for the fear to come back in and block you all over again. We have the Four of Pentacles. Okay. So again, walking through it, the action we must take swiftly. When one bows to the machine, are they offering themselves as faithful servants, or are they merely showing devotion to the world in which they are a part of? Grammar, please. It would be devotion to the world of which they are a part, or a world in which they live. Okay. The machine glows with a golden pentacle deep inside its mouth, yet it is hard to tell if it is asking for more or merely there as a symbol of the potential of the material world. We are surrounded by things, we desire things, we exchange things. However, it's important to know if you consider yourself as just another thing to be consumed, or if you see yourself as someone who has power over the things that the world and you create. Right? You consider yourself as just another thing to be consumed. Our players on stage could be both, and perhaps we should view them without judgment, as we all have to engage with the material world in a way that is aligned to who we are. So, walking through the fear, the action you must take, I think is confronting our consumerism and our fear of losing our stuff. And so we need to confront that and confront how we view ourselves in a materialistic world, and, placing ourselves in the place of I have power and choice over my stuff. Okay. So we have the fear of not being in control. We move through this fear by walking up to it and acknowledging it and looking at how it feels. And then the action we take is getting our relationship right with our stuff, our material stuff. I'm going to look at these other two that came out. The Three of Cups and the Two of Wands. Interesting that we have 3, 4, 3, 2, that all of the minors here are low numbers. So this is talking about a process that we need to get started. It looks like it's already begun if aces come up. So here's a way to kind of look at the meta information in a reading. In addition to the specific card meanings, we look at clusters of similar numbers. If you lay out a spread and you've got aces and twos and threes, all lower numbers, it says time to begin, or maybe something has begun. If we've got a lot of numbers, nines, eights, nines, tens, something has already, something's coming to its end. If we've got those nines and tens and aces, we're finishing something up and a new beginning has already started. If they're middle numbers, we're smack in the middle of it. So this is talking about what we need to begin, and let's just look them up. All on their own. Okay, raise your cup as high as you can. It's time to celebrate. The tide is moving in your favor. Things are coming together. You have all the right feels, and the people around you support you all the way. So much so that they want you to take some time today to celebrate with them. Okay, it doesn't matter how you get together with your support team. It could even be a casual float across the stage on your trusty umbrella. Just make sure you do get together. You'll feel so much better after hanging out in their energy. It's easy to neglect this part of our social hardwiring and to get lost in the busyness of life. So talking about celebration. So one of the things that we can do here, you know, when we've got the loss of control to acknowledge, is to stop kind of dwelling on where we don't feel we are in control and where we have to surrender, and switching our attention to merrier pursuits, let's say. Then we have the Two of Wands. All right. Our performers are center stage and all focus is on them. They balance with ease on what looks like a very unstable structure while they create something amazing. All right. The fiery energy wielding from the two wands, our performer conducts with ease. She uses words interestingly. The fire energy wielding from the two wands, so that's kind of the wrong word, I think, but whatever. It's as if they understand they have the power to create worlds in their hands. This whole scene shows a level of skill, power, and command of the fire that comes from practice, trust, and faith in one's own skills. Okay, so celebration, emotionally skillful means when we come from, you know, dealing with the pain and looking at our relationship with stuff, bringing skillful means, and then we have the Four of Cups. So still very low numbers here. I'm finding that very interesting. And I have not looked at a reversal, but we're going to read a reversal. Have you ever hit a wall when nothing is necessarily wrong or bad? In fact, life can be going great, but all of a sudden you just lose your energy. It's a time when your interest doesn't disappear, but your focus isn't where it should be. All right. So it's talking about refocusing. Your head and your heart aren't really where you need them to be to get excited about something new. That doesn't mean it won't soon. Let's look at the reverse for this. The trick with this energy is not create a story about your current mood and don't make it something it is not. This is a phase, something that will pass. If you start speaking about how you feel bored, uninspired, or lacking energy, you will start to create more of the same, which will make it that much harder to let the new energy of the new opportunity in, which is waiting to be claimed. I'm going to go back to the Hanged Man and look at the reverse here because it was talking about our fear. One of the biggest crowd pleasers of any show is the ability to perform death-defying feats, or at least those that appear to defy danger, even if just an illusion. Here the performer is suspended over an oversized fishbowl, and apparently his feat is to untie himself and get out of the bowl before the fish eat him. More than likely, the fish are vegans and couldn't care less about the performer, yet the element of risk is always present when someone is suspended upside down for too long. Regardless of whether there's any real danger at hand, there's an urgency for this performer to complete his task and right himself, for one cannot hang upside down forever. Eventually, you too will need to plant your feet back on the ground. Okay. All right. So, I mean, I don't really see that these three added much. They were just additionals. We certainly got the answer from the spread. But I think it's going to take me working with this a little bit to get more intimate with the deck and to feel, I mean, I really love her writing. I love the her insights and the meanings that come out, so, you know, yay for that. I do like the artwork. I always love a gift deck, so, you know, what's to argue with there. Let me know what you think of this deck. Do you have it? Would you want it? What do you think of the images? What do you think of the reading? I think it's, I'm keep thinking about that Four of Pentacles, that, you know, our outcome or the action that we need to take is to adjust, because they said, you know, is this all about sort of worshiping the material, or is it about sort of questioning those things, you know? So, just looking at where we fit in the whole material realm. and our relationship with that. Where do we stand with it? And that can certainly be a source of big fear, whether our resources will go far enough, and so we tend to hang on to what we have. Remember that resources need to flow. They need to flow where they need to go, and then more can flow in. So anyhow, I hope you got something from that. Please let me know below. If you have not subscribed to my channel and you enjoyed this, please hit that red subscribe thingy and hit the like button. That helps me as well, and I always love to engage with you, so do not hesitate to leave a comment. I will answer you, and I will see you on Wednesday for a live stream and on Friday for an oracle unboxing. And until then, this is Luna. Blessed be.